with one small injection, while Reginald uttered some interjections.
Hey, that's smart! Ouch, that hurts! Yeah, that's not fair, giving a guy a shot down there!
Interjections.
Hey! Yeah!
You know, no one needs to tell me about the importance of education, because I wouldn't be where I am today without it. I didn't come from wealth, I didn't come from power. My family came from relatively modest means, but they had a good education and they instilled in me a desire for a good education. And it's a consequence of being able to go to world-class schools, universities, that I was able to succeed. Every child should have that same opportunity. There's no child whose opportunity should be stunted because of failing schools. So,
important that everybody understands all the issues associated with education. There's a lot of popular press about failing schools, struggling schools, achieving schools, and whether or not that can be accomplished by a teacher and a principal in a struggling community, and what can be done about that, and the funding crisis that's occurring. There's an awful lot going on.
Got home from camping last spring. Saw people, places.
I think that one of the most significant changes is the infusion of technology. Again, when I started my career, if you wanted to contact the principal, the only way you could do it would be to go in and make an appointment, or maybe leave a voicemail on their phone. But it was rare for someone who was a student to call the principal. It would be a much more difficult process, I think, to move up the chain to someone who was in charge of something. And now with technology, students can email the principal, students can email the superintendent, students can email the school board about anything they want to. And so the way that communication occurs has significantly changed. And the same thing is the case with faculty and with parents. I think it's a lot easier to communicate back and forth, which helps in many ways, but sometimes it also complicates things just because there's so much information and it's hard to keep track of it.
Adjectives are often used to help us compare things, to say how thin, how fat, how short, how tall. Girls who are tall get taller, boys who are small can get smaller, till one is the tallest and another's the smallest of all. We hiked along.
I think students today are much more involved in different activities. I think they're more involved in certainly in activities in the community, in programs like helping other people and helping other causes, much more so than they were a long time ago, which is always a good thing. It's great. But I think over the years, teachers are much better prepared. I think they've had different experiences. It's not as much learning on the, that's learning on the job, but I think you're better prepared to learn on the job.
Huge man, but still have a boyish face. Boy is a noun, but the ending ish makes it an adjective. Boyish.
I think disciplinary measures have changed, again, from 15 years ago in terms of measures, and what I'm hearing you say is things that we do to discipline students, potentially. And again, I think that there's been a push from a lot of research about really carefully evaluating how you discipline students. What is a reason that you exclude a student from school? And so that's something that we're always looking at very carefully, which is if a student makes a mistake, they are kids, they are teenagers, they're going to make mistakes. Sometimes excluding them from school for a suspension makes that problem larger rather than teaching a lesson that causes them to modify their behavior. Instead, it causes them to struggle in their academic classes and come back more of a struggling student. So there's a lot of research around how to appropriately handle those situations.